Now it's finally time for a video about the Digimon game that I was at release time. But of course, I didn't get it then. Because originally it was exclusive to a console Switch. Of course, I didn't have. Of course, it's Digimon Story Super Sleuth, with which finally story games was localized as story games, and its first 3D story game, but finally Digimon games returned to 3D role-playing games. When this game was originally released, I was surprised at Digimon at different evolutions, not like how it is in anime, but then somebody replied to me it was already a thing in previous Digimon games. And then I've only started playing Digimon games when I got Digimon Story Super Sleuth Complete Editions. Maybe a little while after I got the Complete Edition. And the first time playing it was for a Let's Play for the second channel. And at the same time I planned also to make a review about this game for this channel at the same time. Fine, whatever it will be fine with same time twice. No trace. But how long it took to record the Let's Play of it, then I tried to play the game for too long to be able to make at least decent review. So I finally did the plan that I had originally planned. Only to refresh my memory, I needed to replay the game. In the Let's Play, I made a mistake, not switching out Digimon's skills, thinking every skill would appear in the list. After completing Let's Play, I tried playing Aker's memory on my own, but I dropped it because of fun fact. But about that, I'll share it in Aker's memories video. By the way, I also dropped Aker's memories Let's Play, watching Let's Play, when the original version was released. Probably because I started to care about spoilers of games and then stopped watching Let's Plays. More or less. Maybe even there I watched Let's Plays. And at least from the games that I have played. And of course this video will be just about Super Sleuth. An Aker's memory video might come out way later. Because it is a new Game Plus feature, maybe I could play this game with it, but for review, I'll try to share what its experience might be for a new player of the game. However, when the story games were finally localized as a story game, it is bad localizations, but the gameplay is fun. More about it later in the video. Mainly, I will be reviewing Super Sleuth, but here and there will be mentions a list of problems that Complete Editions has, which either I will know or not that those problems are from the Complete Edition. And of course, I know in this game one of System-mount got sensors, but nowadays it became its own Digimon. But I guess what Digimon it censored, the Digimon still can't appear in the West. Probably it's because it's something about nouns. Digimon Story Super Sleuth was developed by Media Vision and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment, originally only on PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4. For some reason, I thought it was originally released only on PlayStation Vita. Later, Complete Edition, which also includes Aker's memories, was released for Nintendo Switch and Windows. And like I said before, I played only Super Sleuth from Complete Edition. And I might say stuff about what comes from the Complete Editions, either that I know or not. of course you can play this game as either a boy, Takumi, or a girl, Ami, in this game. And of course I chose to play as a girl and leave the default name on. But I'll default to the main character as Aiba, because it's their last name. So the premise is, while chatting in a private chat room, a hacker enters into to invite you to enter a virtual reality space. Full type VR and make the art. But not to the safe space of it, but the shady part of it. When I talked it with another Nokia gets to it, and finds the hacker, the account gets hacked, and Digimon capture program gets installed to the account. Then 12 trying to follow Arata, I both times the first Digimon. Then Nokia ate an encounter with friendly Akumon and Kapumon. When fighting Arata, a monster appears and trying to leave under Nokia and Arata, left the monster catches Aiba and with it. There are problems with locking out, but Aiba managed to lock out Salmo under Apple. Salmo behaves not as a physical body, but as a digital body in physical world. And with it, Aiba is tasked to get back to the physical body, but over time, more stuff about what to do for Aiba is added or changed that either reveals mysteries about Aiba's body or about Digimon, or doesn't reveal any story or reveal a mystery. And of course Aiba is also tasked with for the anti-threat, because Aiba's mental data is in physical voltage cyber body. That means Aiba is one of many victims connected to then switch to that realities no sickness symptom. No, that is it. Symptom? I'm not sure. Without spoiling what the term is. Okay, with that, I spoiled the prologue. Maybe, of the game, but I couldn't figure out what to share in the premise that includes the goal of the overall story. Speaking of prologue, I know it is a prologue because this game splits story progress in chapters. Yes, the story is so interesting I didn't mind experience it for the third time. And now I know about previous story games. Only the story takes place mostly in the armored vault or cyberspace made by armors. And if I recall correctly, there was outrage that in a first 3D stories, game players couldn't explore the digital vault more than what it is. By looking back at the game, with info that previous story games stories took place in a digital vault, then they felt like a change of pace was needed by making the story take place in an armored vault and or cyberspace. And maybe that's why Acker's memories were still up. But I'll know about that in the Acker's memories video, well, only from speculations. The conclusion can be set and tearful, but there are good moments in the conclusion. But of course, if the story has ups and it also has downs. Only downs didn't stay in my mind. Only here and there were some cringy moments, which I can't recollect, but I can recall there were cringy moments, but I can't recall what cringy moments that there were. Also, as you can see, the story is directly in visual novel style, but here and there are cutscenes, which can't be skipped even on No Game Plus. For visual novel storytelling, you can spam button to skip the dialogue if you want to play No Game Plus after completing the game. If you come from previous story games, forget about sound features because this game doesn't use sounds. Basic gameplay is the same as Digimon Adventure PlayStation portable game, where battle commands are directional, and to select a command you need to alt the direction to select alt the direction while selecting the command. I didn't know how to call these battle commands in the Digimon Adventure video. In battle you can have up to 3 Digimon, but together with rival Digimon you can have up to 11 Digimon in the party. And of course you can switch between Digimon in battle. And of course all Digimon can be up to 4, or maybe even up to 5 Digimon. But you probably saw from the footage that there are more than 3 Digimon on my side. It's because they are quest Digimon which don't replace your Digimon, unlike how it was in the Digimon Adventure game. Back to Digimon Almond in the party. With that explanation, you might think you can have 11 Digimon in any stage in an early game. That isn't true, because there is a memory cap which limits how many Digimon you can have and at what stage the Digimon can be. In this game there isn't either just Digimon name or Digimon attributes. They are both in this game. And of course both are used for super effectiveness or resistance calculation. So one Digimon can be strong against something, but at the same time weak to one attribute. There is also cross combo for some reason is red and white cross or X. It's similar to Digimon Adventure bonding feature, but I felt it just as like pause instead of recommend. Because cross combo isn't just for attacking, but also for support combats. So yeah, guide as said, combat isn't anymore sound combat, and it's closer to being a basic combat. But it still is interesting enough, even though I mostly use Digimon special skills and even that I use Digimon inert skills. I just couldn't figure out if inert skills will be stronger than special skill. Even though I switch around these skills, I like what I did in these games last play. And even though you can switch around Digimon inert skills, there still is a limit how many skills Digimon can have. But if there wouldn't be this limit, then I guess it could overwhelm the player. Of course there's more to the gameplay. Of course there is a Dig Lab where you manually need to heal Digimon which costs money. Of course there is a Dig Farm in the lab. And of course where you can move Digimon between party and farm. But also from a lab you can access an Localization which is a multiplayer battle where you can add accessories for Digimon, which may not be played a lot today. Being multiplayer Steve doesn't have multiplayer games players, but and I tried since it in early game that first managed to encounter some players which they were fled from the battle and they see my under-level Digimon. But there is an option to play against NPC to earn accessories. And lastly, mirror dungeons. Dungeons for which doesn't have normal access point, where you can scan Digimon or grind your already existing Digimon. Or train. Okay, train it's better. About Digimon Farm, in each you can have up to 10 Digimon, and for which you can't buy upgrades or buy enough item. They are rewarded from cases, either from story or side quests. Upgrading the farm doesn't increase how much Digimon farm can take. It's mainly how much farm code you can place in a farm, and maybe adding stats for comments. Or also maybe increasing stats for training. Or for the experience game, for regular experience game, maybe also that is increased. Yeah, you can command your fire Digimon enter training, where your Digimon can increase stats, but at the same time lose friendship. Develop items by paying the fee, or investigate, finding cases or items. Digifarms use real-time to complete those commands, so for the complete editions if the game is closer than the fan progress freezes. At first I assume it was like that the timer forgot an original event when the game was closed on PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4, but I guess I was wrong. The game probably needed to run always in the background. Or I just couldn't find the info about it. And of course there still is for Digimon. This time it is just to increase stats for Digimon. Only it's fair to select Digimon which to fit inside the farm or it's annoying. Like when getting the Digimon select in the farm by pressing one button, you won't be going between. You won't be circling around all Digimon in the farm. You will be circling only between the few Digimon. I mainly also taken part for stories that trains Digimon in the background. In my place while I'm doing story cases or training Digimon in my party. And of course, also for developing and investigations here and there a training Digimon. But okay, once I took some Digimon from Digimon. But now, lastly but not the least. Okay, that it doesn't sound right. Of course, this game is quests, but this game calls them crazies because it's the team it being as addicted team. Of course, there are repetitive like the switch are bound by Digimon, for example, property cases, where you need to find a Digimon property. These even make repeat like the same Digimon and the property will be in the same place. Some of these are needed to be done to leave space for blacklisted arcade cases. Your Digimon needs to find those arcades, and of course, Digimon. And of course, there are dark elements in the case storylines, like an occult theme or a dark conclusion to the case, or at least an arcana conclusion. If you want to progress the story, then you need to do at least one specific case, for which it may be given either by detective or mere from the killer. But in other cases, neither one shares ins on how to progress the game. Except for property cases, overall cases are for the cases that maybe your particular Digimon might not train enough. So then maybe DT will make out the Digimon train better while you are doing the cases. And of course there are Dig evolutions and DT evolutions in this game. Mainly requirements are specific stats except for DNA and molecular motion. DNA specific Digimon is needed. Thankfully which is shared for Digimon is needed, but more than just the Digimon. At least one that knocks it out of the Digimon. Armor. Specific harmonic is needed, of course. However, with DNA Digivolutions, you can lose one Digimon. Because when they evolving to the previous form, you can only get one Digimon. So, I didn't play around with DNA Digivolution in this playthrough. But then the story says DNA Digivolution can return both Digimon by showing example for NPCs. Yeah, okay, for NPC, well, for main character that is in player character, or not, okay, maybe not main character, but I don't know the term. Enemies really came what fits the plot standards. Because hyper is hacker and as digital body, then hyper is hacker skills that can't work even in physical form. Some of which are needed to progress the game, so to skill specific type and specific Digimon stage are needed to be able those skills. So in a way, it limits your freedom of creating your Digimon party what you want. But from the other side, it helps you teach with the type and attribute both equipped native threat distance. You can play this game either on normal or hard difficulty. But I don't know how hard the attack fault is, or if it's just full of bullshit or not, because I didn't try it out. Overall, it is an enjoyable game, but of course, here and there can be problems. But it should be played at least by Digimon fans. Now, I'll talk about the localization problem. This game is choices, but in English one choice this can take over the rest of the choice text. Why it can happen? Short translation implies from what I have heard, localizations translated out Japanese to English. But English this is longer than the Japanese this. In this way, the text goes over the rest of the choices. But programming wise, why the text cover on that choices? Why couldn't each of the choice slide, or whatever this moment is counted as? I think I know why all of the text they wanted to translate. It's because under choosing the text what APCs isn't shared to the player. The character in this game is some kind of Minecraft regions where talking to other characters is silent, but IP is talking animations. But then I said in the dialogue, and in one instance breaks a word while explaining digital things. And then in Palace the main character is foreign slides. Even the voice cast for the main character is in the credits. But the localizations problems? Monsters localization is Pokemon. Really? Locations couldn't figure out from context clue that it isn't referring to Digimon called Pokemon, but the monsters. Here in this game refers to NPC as she and talking males, and then of course there is a small instance where the main character is mentioned. In one instance, well, in cutscene there weren't any translations. Thankfully, the dialogue was from background characters. Now this is for the complications. The default keyboard controls are weird. Even the track they use them for display, but it broken controls for display track. And by loading into save that I couldn't open the menu to see controls. So for display track I changed the controls, but under it I subconsciously remembered the default controls. Another thing for the complicated editions, it seems for modern systems, or at least for some modern systems, when typing the text window doesn't appear, and you can't see what you are typing, but you can type when game prompts you to type. Speaking about typing, you can nickname Digimon, but the game doesn't explain about it, nor asks if you want to name Digimon when you obtain Digimon. You need to go into Digimon settings to name them, and after naming them to no Digimon form name, you need to open the vault gate. Now that I played Cyber Sleuth other previous Digimon games, except that aren't translated to English, I have noticed reference to previous story games. And there is an appearance from Digimon called Ridiculous, but this game shares the playful no it is from one of the previous ways, or called Speculate. If you play from a clear save file, that includes that you can't use save file from other game, take follow forms or simulates, and to take follow no change to previous forms, you at least need to use the Digimon. This game is my scanned amount. After it doesn't get added when scanning for Digimon or even, well, actual opponent's Digimon. Scanning opponent's Digimon. In some instances, dialogue interrupts the gameplay flow. One dialogue can sack game and makes me move a bit steps, and then next dialogue play out. If you wanted to share dialogue to the player, then they should have been together. And in the other case, there was dialogue much earlier than it should have played. Of course, equipment returns in this game, but not like weapons results. There is customizations for the player character, but it's just different clothes, specifically just different digits, at least when playing as Ami. Only one clothing choice changes the skill. When buying you can't preview your clothes, only after buying them you can preview them. Still, after character shape I is still feeling default clothes. Because I was playing the complex editions, I get the bonus Digimon which doesn't have either, or I get the keyboard fonts. Come on, I'm playing Digimon games also for the explosions feature. Thankfully, if sharing the save file between games, then you get them in only one game. It's because if you complete both games, then you will be able to transfer Digimon between games. But when after reset does Digimon take memory space so you can transfer them to the file in Dante. Need to make multiple trips to put them in the farm. There's also an offline collision. You could save what are left over for damage ranks, because in the game, Detective or Cyber Sleuth rank takes over damage ranks. It's multiple powers in a row, and you can earn something from them. But it's good place to train your Digimon, because if you lose in the collision pillar, it isn't game over like it is with regular pillars. Yeah, this is a story game that doesn't send back to your base and losing pillar, but this game over. Why go backwards like this? So the player needs to constantly manually save the game, which in RPG places gets discipline. But thankfully the game prompts you to save the game after completing a chapter or in some other cases. Of course, playing as a detective, then there is a keyboard system in place. But more or less it plays out same as a regular dialogue. Of course, there is a chance either you attack words or opponents attack words. For some reason, these are called words and back attacks. Of course, I guess a story game most battles are against all Digimon, but here and there are arcade battles. In some instances, there is both rush mode in the story progress. And of course, the game has mini-map, which shows just locations, but not meta location. They are still fun codes that increase specifically sprints, but I didn't play with them, because specific sprints are a requirement for Dig 4. Like those only increase sprints to those Digimon with that attribute. Before replaying this game for this video, I tried the encounter rate was very fast, but I was surprised it was less than what I thought. Or I was just used to the previous story game encounter rate. And then at the same time introduce a feature that lowers encounters, but this didn't seem helpful in some places. And in other cases it was a little bit helpful. Still, after a fall it gets tiresome to get into encounters. By the way, there is auto mode for battles, but because the game doesn't have keyboard buttons as elements for a long time, I didn't know how to enable it. In actual, the auto mode button doesn't do the same add element as a back button in control options. So I searched online for it. This game tries to make you to focus to get the bad spraying attacks. In some instances, I unnecessarily grinded or trained for that fight because I didn't know the upcoming fight was an unwinnable fight. And then after that fight, there was a fight for which unnecessary training for unwinnable fight wasn't enough. Like almost like my Digimon in front of it, and then everything can act that deals damage to me, then heals itself. Under beating the final boss, you don't get experience or currency. Maybe getting experience at that point wasn't necessary, at least since the game originally was released. Technically, there isn't a boss game. The completed level is before going into the final dungeon. But the case is what got counted as boss game gets unlocked before going into the final dungeon. But I guess these cases were DLC for original release. Finally, I made a review video for a Digimon game that I originally planned, even before I had started reviewing Digimon games. Overall, it's an enjoyable game, but there's a little variety with dungeons. Almost all the dungeons look the same and so they play together, but that's kinda understandable when it was originally for it. But for this game, this can be looked past, like I say about original release for PlayStation with. That's the reason why it's like that. Unlike this game, Localization, you can't look past it, especially when it comes to choice text. So yeah, localization problems lowered this game's quality, but gameplay-wise, it is enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, like the video, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.